Little Matthew McConaughey Wolf of Wall Street warm-up there for you. Why am I wearing a tie, a fancy shirt, and doing the Wolf of Wall Street warm-up? Hey, we're talking stock up and stock down when it comes to Texans training camp. I cannot give you advice on your financial situation. In fact, I've never been successful doing anything when it comes to stocks, but I know about the Houston Texans. I've been at training camp, and I am a certified Houston Texans Wall Street stock trader. So let me tell you about a couple players. Stock way up and a big buy. Stefon Diggs. And now you're saying to yourself, Cody, how in the heck can Stefon Diggs be stock up? He's already one of the best wide receivers in football. Yes, but I didn't know he was going to be the favorite target of CJ Stroud in training camp. Every time I turn around, it feels like 7 is getting the ball to 1. Short passes, trying to get the ball to him deep as well, over the middle, letting the catch and run happen. Stefon Diggs and CJ Stroud have been connecting a ton in training camp. Now, there's 2 theories behind this. One, Diggs is the open guy, and as he talked about last week, it's not about who's open, it's about who's the most open when it comes to Stefon Diggs and his teammates. Or it could just simply be CJ Stroud knows that he's got a great relationship with Tank Dell. He's got a great relationship with Nico Collins already. Let's get Stefon Diggs up to speed, and maybe that could have been the added emphasis to Stefon Diggs getting the ball a lot more in training camp. On the field, it's looked excellent, fantastic, great. But hearing about the off-the-field stuff with Stefon Diggs is definitely where it helps the stock keep going up. It's like when you hear that a company's got great culture and a really good staff that works together. That's kind of Stefon Diggs. He's a new member of the executive team, and he's helping everybody get better. Nico Collins said there's too many things to list in the list of ways that Stefon Diggs has already made him better. Tank Dell said he didn't even have to ask for Stefon Diggs to give him advice. Diggs just walks up and volunteers it. And even over on the defensive side, Kamari Lassiter mentioned Stefon Diggs has been a big help to him early on in his NFL career. So stock way up, maybe even through the roof, a heavy buy for Stefon Diggs here in Texans training camp. Let's stay at the wide receiver spot, and let's go to a stock that's headed the wrong direction. John Mechie. Now, I wouldn't say sell John Mechie. Hold on for dear life, but it hasn't looked great for John Mechie to start. He had a couple of nice plays as training camp got going, but the past couple of practices, he hasn't been practicing. So he's banged up a little bit. He should be back on the field here pretty soon, but he hasn't been practicing. And in a loaded wide receiver room with a lot of competition for that 5th and 6th spot at wide receiver, you can't be missing days. Even with a longer training camp and more time and more opportunities to showcase what you got to be on the field to make the team. Can't make the club from the tub. And the couple of practices before his 2 misses, Mechie had some really bad drops, 2 of them in a team situation and 1 of them in just a drill where he just kind of dropped the football. It hasn't been as consistent, and we haven't seen the explosiveness that the Texans talked about in the spring with John Mechie just yet. I'm not saying that you should give up on John Mechie or that he's got no chance to make this team. That's not the case. It just hasn't started at training camp the way that most people would have expected it would start for John Mechie. So it's not a sell. Hold on for dear life, because it could get rocky here in the next few weeks for John Mechie and his chances to make the Houston Texans. Let's go back to the stock up category. How about big Will Anderson? And again, similar to Stefon Diggs, Cody, how can you make Will Anderson a buy? He's already really good. Yeah, but I didn't know he was going to be this good. And the guy teleports to the quarterback. Poor Blake Fisher, the rookie offensive tackle from Notre Dame. He's got no shot sometimes. Like, Fisher goes out there, gets in his set, and he's looking behind him, and there goes Will Anderson running by him over to just give C.J. Stroud a little tap on the shoulder and let him know, hey, I sacked you. Go ahead, throw the ball. But play's over in real life because I would have demolished you. I mean, Anderson has been ferocious. First day of pads, had the tackle for a loss where he worked down the offensive line and met Dameon Pierce in the hole. He had a play that he would have demolished Stefon Diggs on a play where Diggs kind of ran and around and was ended up in the backfield, and then sack after sack after sack. And even when Fisher does a good job and kind of set the tone and kept Will Anderson from getting it going, the other day he looped around into the hole in the offensive line and found himself with another sack. He's added muscle, and he has not lost his speed. Will Anderson, man, we already knew he was good. This is like one of those big stocks that, is already super expensive. You probably already have a lot of it, but it continues to perform and gets even better than you even thought it was going to be. It's a blue chip stock for sure, one that keeps going on. If my stock lingo is incorrect, please correct me in the bottom. And if you have advice, help me. I could use some help in the stock market as well. But Will Anderson, through the roof, keeps going up. Let's go with one that's not looking so good right now. C.J. Henderson. It has not looked good for C.J. Henderson, the former first-round pick who played initially for the Jacksonville Jaguars, then the Carolina Panthers, and was added by the Texans in free agency this offseason. He actually had a really good spring, and I felt like heading into training camp, Henderson was going to be ahead of Jeff Okudah in the cornerback competition. Well, Okudah quickly has eclipsed him, and Henderson hasn't practiced the past couple of practices for the Texans. What is it? What's the old saying? Hello, anybody? Anybody? Can't make the club from the tub. He's got to get back on the field, and he's got to showcase something. Not to say that he's been bad. I can't tell you one play that I can remember that's been really bad or really good from C.J. Henderson, but he's got to do a little bit more. He's got to learn special teams as well, because he's got to catch up and be a factor. If he's going to be a depth piece at cornerback, he's got to catch up on special teams, because he probably hasn't played a lot of special teams in his life or career. And so he's got to play special teams, has to learn some new pieces of special teams as well. He's got to get back on the field and really start to turn this thing around. He's not trailing Okudah by some giant margin, but he needs to keep Okudah from widening the gap and giving C.J. Henderson a really tough time to make this team. I'd also go as far as to tell you that Mike Ford, who was also added in free agency, and Ford more of a special teams specialist, okay, a special teams ace, if you will. Ford feels like he's ahead of C.J. Henderson as well. So stock down a little bit on C.J. Henderson. Sometimes in the world of business, because one stock in one business goes down, the other one in that same business goes up. Hello, there's Jeff Okudah. Stock up on Jeff Okudah, and a strong buy on Jeff Okudah, because he has had a couple of really nice practices in a row. Now, there were some early moments in training camp that didn't look too good. John Mechie actually is the perpetrator of making Okudah not look very good. Mechie hit a little quick step on him, got a free clean release, and Okudah, to just make up for it, just grabbed Mechie by the jersey and got a pass interference penalty. But Okudah has settled in, and even Corey Unlin, who is the defensive passing game coordinator, mentioned that the understanding of the system and the ability to process things like they need Okudah to process has gone up in the past few practices. He's starting to get it, okay? And look, Kamari Lassiter, Derek Stingley, they're ahead of Jeff Okudah, but Okudah has a spot on this team, and he's learning special teams, something C.J. Henderson can't practice while he's not practicing his special teams. Okudah's been out there in a couple of special teams opportunities and special teams moments, so that's something to pay attention to from that standpoint. Is Okudah, he's going to be a depth piece at cornerback. He's got to be able to help them out on special teams. He seems like he's working pretty well to learn that and kind of give himself multiple avenues to making the Houston Texans. So a buy, probably not as much as some of the other ones, but a buy on Jeff Okudah stock. What do you think of the mythological, imaginary Houston Texans Wall Street? Did I miss a player that should have been stock up? Did I miss a player that should have been stock down? Should somebody be delisted, aka released from the Texans? Don't do that. Don't be releasing people in the comment section. But let me know how you'd spend your mad Texans money, okay? If the Wolf of Kirby Street took care of you here on this one, let me know in the comment section down below. And if all you want to talk about is football, this video is done for you. That's it. Appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Throw me a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And that's all she wrote. But if you've been asking for food reviews, the food reviews are back. And I got a new one for you, a value menu item, and a long conversation about the place that it comes from. And it's headed your way right now. Food review time. One of the last great value menus in fast food is at this fine establishment. It is Sonic, and I'm here for the chicken bacon ranch queso wrap. There's a lot going on there. I have no idea if this is going to work, but let's give it a go. And you always got to pull up at Sonic, okay? You can't be sitting here going through the drive-thru at the Sonic, all right? So we're looking for the bacon ranch queso wrap. $1.99. Great price. Great price. They also do a chili cheese coney for $1.99. So the value menu hot at the Sonic right now. Thank you. $6.15 for a Route 44 Coke Zero and a bacon ranch queso wrap. Not bad. Not bad. If I'd come during happy hour, the Coke Zero would have been much cheaper. Should have done that. I really wish Sonic still had the skating people. The skating people. I really wish Sonic's servers were still on skates. That's what I wanted to say, not the skating people. I really wish Sonic servers were still on skates. Every now and then you'll come across a Sonic and somebody is still on skates, and I do appreciate that. So that's always a little extra on the tip. You know, I know some people don't tip at Sonic. Yeah, tip if you want to. Fast food place like this where they bring your food to your car. You know, because I made the choice to be here, you know, maybe I should give them a little something. It's kind of how I land on the topic. If they're on skates, automatic tip. I will tell them to sit there while I dig out, you know, the change or grab a dollar bill or something, or, you know, give them a little bit extra. But they're on skates, primo. Rainy day, probably shouldn't be on skates. Nobody's on skates anymore. Do they even allow it anymore? It feels like something that, like, in 2024, somebody would have tried to sue Sonic and would have kept them from being able to have people on skates. Here we go. Hello. All right, thank you. And thank you. Oh, perfect. Thank you. You too. All right, here we are. How big is it going to be? Heard that before. Lots of napkins. This is tiny. That's my hand. This is tiny. Let me give you a reference here. This is an Icebreakers gum pack. This is not a large item. And for $1.99, maybe was hoping for a little bit bigger item. It is wrapped up all nice and pretty in there. Maybe it could have been toasted. It is literally just a warm tortilla. Let's open this sucker up. Oh, there's some of the ranch already. And take a look at the inside before we... Okay, look, it is, there's a lot going on the inside. The ranch and the queso and the cheese and the very little bit of bacon have sort of made a little soup on the inside. Okay, you probably don't need to look on the inside of this. Let's give it a shot here. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. The ranch is not overpowering, which is a condiment that sometimes can overpower some things. The bacon gives it a really nice flavor. The chicken tender is very good. You can see the inside there, a little bit of the bacon. The tender is good. And the queso is not, you know, sometimes with white quesos, they're very punchy. You know, they can kind of cut through a lot of stuff. But the ranch and the queso work really well together in tandem. Good texture all the way through. Hold on, I'm choking to death here. Note to self, we're going to take big bites. Have your drink ready. Oh my God. Well, that's good. Woo! That's a fresh Coke Zero. The size is not, I mean, look, I'm about to 3-bite this thing. I'd like for it to be a little bit of a larger item, but then again, it is one chicken tender with bacon wrapped in a tortilla. So if they did like 2 tenders, it wouldn't be $1.99. For $1.99, it feels like just the right price point. It's a nice little snack. It's not going to fill you up. You would add this on to typically what you usually get at Sonic if you were doing that. So the score here, if you don't know the scoring numbers, we go from 1 to 11. 11 is Pro Football Hall of Fame, greatest of all time level. We do 11 because football, and that's what I talk about, football, Houston football, as you see. But, hey, this is checking in somewhere around I really like the flavor. Even though I was disappointed with the size, I really like the flavor. We're going to check in with a 8.9 on this one. 8.9 out of 11. I really liked it. It was good. I don't know if I would want 2 of them. I probably would just want it as an addition to what I typically get at Sonic. I'd probably add it into that equation. I am interested to see what the Southwest one would be. Probably just a little bit spicier and maybe a little crunchier because it's got the corn chips and that Southwest sauce. But an 8.9 for the Bacon Ranch Queso Wrap at Sonic. Good job, Sonic. Need to come back by and visit you a little bit more.